I'm Kevin Zelko, a local Seattle realtor. This is my Capitol Hill episode of For the Love of the Neighborhood, and I'll take you on a tour of all my favorite restaurants, bars, parks, and homes around the neighborhood. Give me a like or a follow if you enjoy the content. I like to go around to all the Seattle neighborhoods and give a tour, and it's a beautiful city that I just love to show off. Come on along. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any real estate needs. We enjoy to meet you and discuss Capitol Hill is very central in Seattle, neighboring downtown with the Central District to the east and Eastlake on the west. I've often walked to downtown. It takes just about 10 minutes down and maybe 15 minutes back up the hill. Such an easy access to the wonderful amenities of what downtown brings. With such central location, many Seattleites live on Capitol Hill and either walk or use transit down to downtown or other parts of Seattle. There is a light rail station right on the center on Broadway. I'm standing at one of my favorite points in Capitol Hill. I'm on the north end over by the Lookout, which is a great spot to get a drink and a bite and then taking a sunset. They're beautiful. Over here. First off, just that building right there, the Fred Hutch Center, that's where they saved my life as a cancer survivor. Wonderful care. I'm so lucky that I happen to live in the city that heals so many people in their fight against cancer. And then secondly, this is a wonderful vantage point where you can really see with Queen Anne behind me and then downtown over here as well. It's a great spot where you can actually see how much level ground they regraded when they did what was called the Denny regrade in the early 1900s in Seattle. You can read a wonderful book called Too Steep, Too High, and it's just about that regrade and just how they leveled out the land to make Seattle be able to grow even longer than it has and connect more parts of the neighborhoods to downtown. But it's just fascinating, and they probably shouldn't have done it. They did it, and Seattle grew a lot. But read that book and check it out. This is a wonderful spot over here in Capitol Hill. Did you say coffee? Vivace is my favorite, but there are so many coffee options on Capitol Hill, and most of them are far superior than anything you'll find in any other city. It blows my mind, all the coffee options we have, and great places to read a book or meet up with a friend. The coffee is delicious. These are the perfect places to warm up with a cup of joe, a glass of tea, or anything in between. The baked goods are just amazing as well. Here's a handful of some of my favorite bars you'll find in Seattle. Julia's is great for Sunday brunch. Roanoke for a baseball or Seahawks game. What a place to watch a game. Bates Shop for excellent drinks. Deluxe is a classic old Seattle haunt. And Doctor's Office, you will find some of the most fancy cocktails you'll have anywhere in the city. It's a wonderful place. I need to book my appointment there. I'm going to go call them right now. And the nightlife really doesn't end in Capitol Hill. You can find pretty much anything you're looking for, just kind of the style of bar that fits you. It's out there. Tons of dance, karaoke, and a ton of great, amazing dive bars like Montana here. It's such a great place. The Pine Box has amazing beer selections and also where Bruce Lee's final funeral service was. We'll talk about him later. But just stroll up Piker Pine and you can kind of find everything you're looking for around there. Life on Mars is some of the best vegetarian food in town. Wonderful setting, a great place to get a drink and a bite of great vegan food. The Unicorn is also a really special place you should check out. It's very colorful inside and an adventure. I've been going to the Cha-Cha Lounge since way back in the 90s. It's a wonderful place. It just doesn't stop with the entertainment options in Capitol Hill. You can pretty much find, like I said, everything you're looking for. There are a couple breweries on Capitol Hill. My favorite, I'll show here in a minute, is Stoop. But you can also go to the Hop Vine or, as I mentioned, the Pine Box as well. There's some great options still for beer lovers out there. Liberty makes delicious drinks and has excellent sushi. You can also find delicious drinks here at Summit Pub on Summit. That's kind of the place I learned how to drink. And Sun Liquor, or Soul Liquor as it's called these days, is another favorite place of mine.
And the lookout here, you'll have great views in the back. Capitol Hill has some amazing live music venues. One of my favorites is at Numos. It's amazing inside with excellent stage, lighting, and sound. Excellent place to catch a live show. And it's always an entertaining night. Make sure you catch a Seattle dog with cream cheese on it outside after the show. Looking for a fancy Italian? Hit up Altura. I love the food there. This Mexican truck is really wonderful as well. And Little Woody's has delicious burgers with voodoo donuts next door. Can't go wrong. If I only had one night in Seattle, I would go hit up Linda's and enjoy the divey spirit there, and then hit up Hot Mama's for delicious pizza after. It's just a quintessential Seattle experience. Salt and Straw and Molly Moon's make for great ice cream options on the hill. There's many more than just those two. Those are the two I just tend to frequent. But just with how eclectic Capitol Hill is, it's so amazing to just find this kind of quality of food in so many different locations on Capitol Hill. It's really an amazing place to go out to eat on. Momji here has some of the best sushi in the city. You will find an unforgettable dishes there. It's excellent. And Kedai Makan, the fusion dishes there, oh my gosh, it'll blow your mind. There's some amazing Asian options as well. I really like Jamboree up on 15th for Thai. I also really do love Coastal Kitchen, and I'm hoping they reopen. I know they're going through some ownership issues right now. And Spice Walla, also on 15th, has delicious street Indian food. It's so good, and get the soft serve to go. And for the best pizza on the hill, I like to hit up Cornelli. It's delicious. My favorite brunch spot is Glow's. It's classic and been there forever.
One of my favorite things about Seattle, and still to this day, is its love for old-fashioned movie theaters. It has numerous still around, but they are slowly fading away. This one did fade away. This was at one point the Harvard Exit, and I just loved going to movies here. Really small theater. It's a wonderful place to catch a movie, and now it's actually the Mexican Embassy, which is a neat transition for it, but I still wish it was a movie theater. It is one of my favorite things to go, is find these old theaters that fit about 50 to 100 people, and just, get popcorn, cozy up in, just with one theater at the movie showing at a time. Cineplexes are fun. I'm a big movie goer myself, but this is one of the reasons I love Seattle, is it has a deep respect for old-fashioned movie theaters. Up here on Capitol Hill, you can still go what used to be
Egyptian.
It now is owned by SIF, and it runs over there. There's a couple other movie theaters around. I'll show them in this little video after. But now we have the Mexican Embassy up here on Capitol Hill.
Here's the Egyptian, one of my favorite theaters, and here's the Northwest Film Forum, awesome, a great place to see film. Capitol Hill has tons of grocery options, depending on the kind of format of grocery store you like. It's all there and available, from large corporate to small indies, and everything in between. So just keep walking along the neighborhood and you'll find what you're looking for. And the Space Needle really does give peekaboo views all over the neighborhood.
I'm here at the Volunteer Park, and obviously you can see the Space Needle has put itself in a perfect place at Black Sun, which is where Soundgarden took their name, for Black Hole Sun. It's a wonderful place to be. Lots of people come and visit. They also come to the Asian Art Museum, which is in front of me right now. And you can spend a couple hours there. There's also a nursery that's really wonderful too. And there's even a water tower that's pretty amazing to check out. So you can spend a good couple hours up here in Volunteer Park. They have a dog play area and a kid play area too. It's really neat, old Capitol Hill, and it's always a good feeling. There used to be a nice little amphitheater over here where you could go see some kind of community theater. It's still a fun place, and one day I dream of putting on some kind of a fun event with my friends and seeing them there. But this is kind of the most popular space in Volunteer Park. It's kind of always busy and a nice place to be viewing the Space Needle.
Here's that amphitheater I mentioned, and here's the greenhouse as well. They have a really cool Santa program going on there right now with a full-on toy train, and they also have a really neat desert cactus room that I found really interesting. But come on over to the nursery, look up the schedule for when Santa's there, He'll bring lots of smiles. Head on over to Lakeview Cemetery to see Bruce Lee and his son Brandon Lee's grave. This is an amazing sight. It will really settle your heart. Great place. Let me tell you why. This is one of my favorite spots in Seattle, plus on Capitol Hill. I've always come and shown people these graves. Bruce Lee and his son buried next to each other. It's a very unique site. They've definitely updated it a lot since the last time I was here, putting a protective fence around, keeping it in as much shape as it deserves to keep. But just a beautiful space to come and meditate, relax, take in these two amazing martial artists spots here in Seattle on Capitol Hill. The beautiful quote on Bruce's grave is just phenomenal, but the one that always has blown my mind is on Brandon's grave. And if you go to the outtakes of The Crow, you can see him reading the quote that's on his grave, and he passed about 2 to 3 weeks later after he said the quote. And it's basically about living a personal revolution in your life, and you don't know the last moment you're going to get to see a sunset. You don't know the last time that you'll have an embrace of a loved one. It's a passionate quote that will warm your heart, as it does mine. But coming here kind of brings that life back together, and seeing Bruce Lee as well. So it's a wonderful space on Capitol Hill. I'm walking in Cal Anderson Park, and this park is really important to Capitol Hill in the sense that it's often the place we meet up if we're going for a quick picnic, if we want to get a bite to eat and go eat outside. This park is often used for that, and the people watching is pretty excellent here, especially during the summer. It's very busy, and it's just a nice place to meet up with people. People playing hacky sack. Yes, they play soccer, baseball, and softball here. It's an excellent little field. Wanted to just talk about Cal Anderson. I mean, I've come here so many times and never knew who he was. Cal Anderson was the first openly gay state politician, and he's from Washington, and a civic leader and an activist. Just a wonderful, spirited voice of democracy in the state of Washington, and that's why this park bears his name, Cal Anderson. Another name we often hear when we're in this park is Bobby Morris Playfield. Well, Bobby Morris was an official in the early 1900s, and he was known for fairness and honesty in every game that he assisted in. And so I'm just a sports hero and a wonderful kind of civic, again, personality. So when you see those names, now you know who they are, and come on down to Cal Anderson and enjoy a pickup game of soccer sometime. As I mentioned, at Cal Anderson Park, they do have a Sunday market. It's a farmer's market. Good food trucks, good culture, lots of random things are there you can buy, but I also have a lot of fruit and vegetable stands that you can purchase there as well. I just love the old reservoir, how they've converted it to kind of modern art and architecture. It's another really fun aspect about Cal Anderson Park. Let's look at some prices at Capitol Hill for real estate. As you can see, single-family homes are about $1.78 million at median, townhomes at $1.03, and $481,000 for condos. With the old-fashioned homes you'll see on Capitol Hill, it is quite nice to just go on a tour and a walk around and take in some of these homes. Here's a home up on Catholic Hill that I was able to tour. Inside, you can find something special in that this is John Nordstrom's piano. Pretty nice to see that. This 4-bedroom home is on the market for $1.8 million and just has so many classic old world touches and kept in pristine condition, outside of a couple keys on John's old piano. But it is a truly wonderful home to tour. A lot of special aspects of a home have been added here. As I mentioned, these single-family homes are mostly from pre-1930s, so they've been maintained really well when you see a nice one. There's a neighborhood in Capitol Hill that is kind of called Catholic Hill, and the reason is it's where we're at now. All these huge mansions are up here, and they're old world mansions from 1920s on, and then obviously updated. But this neighborhood
A lot of the local politicians at the time were trying to push to move the Capitol up to Capitol Hill. This is like 1910, 1915 era. So they were trying to move it up here, and what a different Seattle we'd have if this was the capital of Washington. But as we know, it's over there in Olympia. But it is really nice to drive around Catholic Hill or take your trick-or-treaters in this neighborhood is the secret. And you will see more townhomes and condos than you will single-family homes. A lot of the townhomes do have the newer look, with most of them being built after 1990s up until the modern day. With the condo options, you have many options from the early 1930s as well, all the way up to modern-day condos. Let's take a quick tour of a recent condo listing I had on Broadway. This is at the Bricks, which is right above one of my favorite coffee shops in Vivace. It's a one-bedroom urban condo with a wonderful courtyard overlook, and the roof on this one is just amazing. If you ever get a chance to look at the Bricks' roof, it's wonderful up there, and they also have an amazing uni pizza oven for its residents. The blend of architecture you'll see on Capitol Hill is really pleasant. It's nice to see what's around the corner, as I said before. You'll walk around Capitol Hill and often run into these German-style cottages that you'll see around. And most of these are designed by an architect named Fred Anhalt. And Anhalts, there's about 50 Anhalts in Seattle. I believe about 30 of them are on Capitol Hill. They look like old German cottages, and they have really nice community spaces inside and also outside with nice courtyards. They have really neat vaulted ceilings and some neat stucco entrances. They're really one of my favorite places I've ever lived in, and they can be found all over Capitol Hill. But check out Fred Anhalt if you're an architecture fan. Always another brilliant spot on Capitol Hill, just on Broadway in the end, down at Pine. And Broadway is our wonderful Jimi Hendrix statue. He is a Seattle legend and brought the rock and roll here early in our times. There's a nice statue here. It's a good landmark to meet people at. But it's here because there used to be an elevator music company that was here many years ago, and they decorated the area with lots of music. Also know that you can go visit Jimi Hendrix's grave in Renton if you like to make that kind of trip. I haven't done it myself, but I hear it's really special. But he's a Seattle legend, Hendrix. It was a blast to show you around Capitol Hill. Please reach out if you have any real estate needs. It'd be wonderful to meet you and learn about what you're looking for. Remember to subscribe for more of these tours.